Final Destination full trailer is out. I've watched it about 100 times, so here is a trailer breakdown.
Because that would be crazy.
Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. Now, before we get into this video, guys, there is going to be spoilers here. There's some spoilers in this trailer that maybe I wish myself that I didn't see. So if you're not into spoilers and if you don't like to see trailer breakdowns scene by scene, then maybe don't watch this video because I can assure you there are spoilers in this. Now, I'm not going to go through scene by scene because there's some scenes in this trailer that don't really matter, but there's obviously some really important scenes as well. So we'll just kind of drag our way through it to see what we notice. Now, obviously, the opening scene is a family that are probably very well off because it looks like the neighborhood is pretty decent and some nice big houses. And as far as I'm aware, this is the Campbell family. Now, this is the whole family though it's not the whole family. It consists of most of the family in this scene here. Now, there is that girl, the main girl, which we will get onto. I don't believe she has a full name yet, but she could be part of the Campbell family where she talks to her grandmother. But this is the family here. Now, as you'll notice, this man, the older man with the beard, he was the man who featured in the first teaser trailer alongside this young man here with the black t-shirt. That's father and son. And in the first teaser trailer, it was alluded that this boy just lost his dad. He gave himself a tattoo of his dad, etc. So we know that this man here, straight from the beginning of this trailer, is going to die in this scene. And in true Final Destination form, it looks like there's a whole elaborate setup where we think someone's going to drink a glass of water or drink with some glass in it. Someone's going to stand on a rake when they jump on the trampoline, etc. There's so many things that look like is going to happen in this scene that most of it probably doesn't happen. Again, that's in true Final Destination form. But it turns out it looks like it's only one person that dies in this scene, and that is the dad from everything that happens in this whole entire scene. But this girl here that I'm moving on to now, she's the girl who is the main girl in the movie. And from what I see in this trailer, she's not here. She's not at the barbecue. But it looks like she is from this scene here. But either this is cut from a different scene in the movie, or she goes back into this premonition. Maybe her grandmother or her, or both of them, have the power to go back and have visions of previous premonitions that have already happened. And if she can do that, there's potential, which it hints to, and we'll talk about, there is potential for her to go back and see premonitions of previous movies. Now, this kid here, I believe, is possibly that girl, the main girl's brother, because we see them later on in the trailer. So it's possible that she is definitely a family member, which it alludes to throughout the trailer, but she might not have been present at the time. And if she was, then they kept her out of that scene, most of that scene, apart from that one snippet that I showed you. And there we've got somebody jumping up and down the trampoline with the rake underneath. So like I said, it's alluding to other people getting hurt in this one scene. We don't know who's going to get hurt until eventually we find out that it's not everybody that gets hurt in this scene. Now we've got the scene again with the girl here. And then we've got the grandmother who was an original survivor. It looks like in the late 60s, the early 70s, which again we'll show you. But she's the grandmother. She's the one who has the premonition or possible premonitions. And it's her fault that these family members who survived the incident at the beginning of the movie are being targeted. Are they being targeted and it's extending to the other films? Time will tell. But as we go through this first scene again, we've got the dad standing on the glass, being hit by a rake, and then being mowed down by a lawnmower in the face. So it's interesting because he's standing on the glass that we get the premonition. He ends up having some sort of rake hitting a device which causes his death. So maybe when we see things happening around like the rake underneath the trampoline, we need to look out for a rake. Kind of similar to what we saw in the first movie. As we can see here, he obviously died. They had a funeral for him. We can see that his name is Howard Campbell. He was a beloved father and husband. Then you've got that girl with her brother and her dad at the funeral as well. So I don't know if they're maybe extended family, cousins, or maybe they're friends of that immediate family because they had a close bond because some of the family members survived the beginning premonition with the old lady. Now we've got the premonition in the trailer. We've got the old lady thinking back of how it all went down. She's in this what looks to be some sort of futuristic building. I don't know why they put that kind of building in there. Was there buildings like that in the late 60s, early 70s, or however many years ago it was? I'm assuming possibly, I don't know, was it 50 years ago? And if it was, that was the mid 70s. She looks like she's in 60s getup. So I don't know what year this is supposed to be, but it's a very futuristic building. You can see the lift going up or the elevator going up to the top floor. And it's a very World of Tomorrow style building. But yeah, it looks like she's wearing 60s outfits. So I don't know when this is set. All I know is it's set a long time ago, and she obviously has that premonition of things going down. It does look like a really epic scene, to be honest. Looking forward to seeing that one, morbidly. But yeah, everybody dies in that premonition. She wakes up and she's like, nope, we ain't having this. And she gets a lot of people out. I'm assuming that a lot of people still die in this building, and rest in peace to them. But she manages what looks to be there's people behind her here that are following her to get out of the building. So some of those people probably survive. I can't imagine too many people, but these people survive and they go on and have families, and those families are targeted by death. The trailer just further goes on to show that she's warning this girl about what happened to her, and it shows you the actual death premonition as well, which is kind of cool, to be honest. So that girl obviously goes around and warns people, but the reason that she's going to her grandmother, I can only assume is because she started having premonitions as well. And if she is, then we might see two major premonitions in the movie. One with the grandmother at the beginning. Maybe this girl's premonition will be at the beginning of the movie. Is the barbecue scene going to be the major premonition for her? Possibly. That might be why we see her at the barbecue at some point, if she's actually there. So it's not 100% that this barbecue scene is going to play out the way it should have, or is there going to be an even bigger premonition that this girl has that leads to the smaller ones? Time will tell on that one. It's clear that the grandmother has been affected by the initial premonition because she lives on what looks to be a caravan farm where there's only a couple of caravans or a couple of buildings there, and you can see it's like the Walking Dead around. She's got lots of spikes and stuff there, so that anyone who comes here will die, I guess, or I don't know, maybe it prevents her from getting out because she doesn't want to get out. But this is where we unlock a lot of information that could potentially be a spoiler. The grandmother hands the granddaughter a book of what looks like a survival guide for people who have had premonitions. And I don't know if she's written these guides as the movies go on. So we're led to believe that she was the very first, from what we understand. And is she learning from premonitions that are happening since her first premonition? Because we see the plane crash pictures, we see the truck from Final Destination 2. So I hope we see maybe the premonitions again from Final Destination 1, Final Destination 2. I don't know if we'll see the other ones, but it alludes to us knowing about Final Destination 1 and Final Destination 2. So it's very interesting to see this sort of thing. Like there's the plane there. Do you see the fuel? Is it going to be the plane from Final Destination 1? Most likely, because they are premonitions at the end of the day. So it would be interesting to see some of those premonitions play out yet again. We see the newspaper clippings again where the girl starts talking about their family being the first and as part of this death's design for the premonition. She's getting all the family names out. It's like a family timeline. Reminds me of what I'm doing just now with my family. I'm doing an ancestry thing. So it kind of takes me back to doing all this. So she's got all her family names marked out. Maybe it'll go in line of if it goes after the grandmother first, then it's the son, then it's the daughter, then it's blah, blah, blah. Or it could go backwards. It could be the grandchildren first, then the parents, and then the grandparents. So I don't know what death's design is in this movie. All I know is Death's design overall is part of this bloodline. So we can see here that Howard is the man who died by the lawnmower, that his kids are Eric, Julia, or is it Julie, and Bobby. Eric is the boy that we saw in the teaser trailer who works in the tattoo parlor. He obviously dies at some point. Again, we'll show you another scene with him later on in this trailer. So Eric has a brother and sister called Julie and Bobby. And we've got Darlene, who's Howard's possible sister. And if that's the case, Darlene has two kids called Stephanie and Charlie. I believe Stephanie and Charlie could very well be the main girl and her brother. But the way that this girl talks throughout the trailer, it's almost like she is family members with these people. You can see these two people here, the man, the Chinese man, is it? Him and the son sitting next to him, that's her dad and that's her brother. And then the rest of the people around are the people who survived the barbecue premonition, maybe because this girl went back and saved them all, and the only person to die in that premonition was Howard. So they've all escaped death yet again. If that's the case, then we could be looking at multiple premonitions throughout the film. I don't mind it, but we might see a lot of these premonitions to the point where we're thinking, okay, is this actually happening now? Or is it another premonition? We can see a log truck going past here. So I think we're going to see a lot of nods to the previous movies. Now, I know that they're looking at the scrapbook. Is the scrapbook then saying Death's design was for someone to die through these logs? And if it is, and that guy, the police officer from part 2, if he survived the logs, then the logs then have to go right where Death has to say to himself, okay, people need to die by these logs, and this is it. Same with the plane crash. 6 or 7 people who got off the plane in 2000 didn't die. Therefore, Death's design means that people need to die on a plane, and it has to be this number of people. So we might go back to Death's original design, and that design has to be the way that these people die. So you can see that these people are carrying the book around with them, the book of the premonition. So I believe that these people at this moment in time already believe that Death is after them. So there's not a conspiracy at this point. It's downright happening to them. In this scene, you can see this could be her mother. I don't know, or it could be her aunt. But this woman looks like she gets choked. Let me just go forward a couple of scenes here. The book seems to save her, because the book gets caught, as you can see, in the turnstiles, and she's stuck inside this turnstile. Now, it looks like she's getting choked right here. I don't believe she dies in this scene, because we see her in another scene dying, unfortunately, unless that's a premonition as well. That's the thing about this trailer. People you see dying in this trailer might not actually die in the whole entire movie. It might just be premonition after premonition. But this scene here, whether it's a premonition or not, she doesn't die in this scene. Here we've got the late, great Tony Todd. We do miss the guy. He's obviously looking frail in this moment, but there's something about Tony Todd's last movie being a Final Destination movie. I think that's bittersweet. I don't know what you would call it, but it's nice to see him on screen, because obviously he passed away, and I feel like he deserves to be in a big movie, and I think this is going to be a big movie, so it's nice to see him in the trailer as well. This scene here from the very first premonition, it's possibly, is her name Iris? I can't remember if her name is Iris or her real name's Iris, but she's obviously seen somebody falling from a great height. I've got a feeling that this is the very last part of the premonition, and in fact, that it might actually be the very last part of the premonition, where he falls down and then she wakes up and then she starts to warn people. So this scene here of an explosion looks like the scene of the grandmother, because you can see the spikes around the area. So I think the grandmother's caravan blows up. Maybe she dies in this scene. But as this is blowing up, you can see a person flying away. You can see that they're wearing that same jacket and a white shirt as this, and they've got the same hairstyle as this woman that's stuck in the turnstile doors. So she is the same woman. So she probably dies at the caravan. Spoiler alert there, sorry. So if we go forward again to the main girl and the boy who's possibly her brother, it looks like they're warning this guy that we saw in the teaser trailer. Now, he's wearing a fire department t-shirt. He wasn't wearing that at the beginning of this trailer, so either this is a different day from the barbecue, which I assume it is, or he's changed his t-shirt, but he is being warned basically that their death is after them. He doesn't believe them, and he goes on his merry way. Now, despite what you think, he doesn't die in this scene, because if you pause it right here, which I need to show you a screenshot, the vehicle actually passes him. It doesn't hit him here, so he doesn't die in this scene. You can see he's got the cover on his dad tattoo. Now, if this is the case, this takes place after the teaser trailer, and if it takes place after the teaser trailer, it means that he survives the events of that teaser trailer, unless that's another premonition. But let's assume it wasn't a premonition and he survived that. He was a very lucky guy. And in this scene here, where that vehicle just passes him, he's again a very lucky person. Could that mean that we find out that this boy is not a family member at all? Could it be that he was adopted? And the twist for him, not for the movie, but the twist for him, that he is an adopted boy and he's not in danger of being killed. So anytime we see him coming to a close death or a near-death experience, he just doesn't die. And the audience are like, oh, why is he not dying? Well, it turns out he is adopted. He's not part of the family. That would be quite funny to see. Obviously sad for him, but quite funny to see. But if this takes place before the tattoo parlor incident, which I don't know if it can, then he's probably dead after the events of the tattoo incident. I can't remember. When he rubs his arm and it says dad on it, is he doing the finishing touches or is he just adding to the tattoo? If he's just adding to the tattoo that was already there, then this scene takes place before that tattoo incident. But if this is after that tattoo parlor incident, then he's a very lucky boy. And then finally, we get Tony Todd again at the end of the trailer. Just a nice round off for the end of the trailer. Doesn't really give much away, I don't think. All it shows is he still works in that kind of morgue coroner industry, which is cool to see after all these years. He's been working there for over 25 years. And then that's the end of the trailer. So there's a lot to unpack, quite a few spoilers in there as well, guys. A few confirmed spoilers, not just guesses. I know that some of the things that I've mentioned are guesses, but some of them are pretty much confirmed. But what are your thoughts on that, guys? What do you think's going to happen? I genuinely believe that this boy, who looks like he died in the first teaser trailer and it looks like he died at the end of this trailer, I think he survives the whole movie because he's adopted. That's just a pure and utter guess. However, I think that would be quite funny if he survives because of that reason. But what are your thoughts, guys? What are your conspiracy theories with the trailer? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat? Someone's in the back seat!